In 2007, I moved with my then girlfriend to Ann Arbor, where she was going to pursue her PhD at the University of Michigan. I moved there with really nothing to do, and while she was at school, I found myself in a lot of solitude and no friends. And I spent a lot of my days walking around Target like a crazy person just to pass the time. And I wanted friends, and one of the things I found as an adult, it can be sometimes difficult to make new male friends. And it was always an awkward thing for me, and everything worked out okay when my girlfriend and I met the McAllisters. And the McAllisters were a husband and wife who were around our age, and they lived across the street from us, and they became our go-to couples friends, where we'd all go do stuff together, and we'd have what we would jokingly refer to as date nights, where the four of us would go and watch Lost on Wednesdays, The Office and 30 Rock on Thursdays, and it was just a fun time, and I had a buddy again. And we had a really nice time together, and it was just nice to have friends again. Except for one thing. He hugged me way too much. Whenever the four of us got together, without fail, he would embrace me hard, like we hadn't seen each other in years. And the last time we'd seen each other was in the trenches of a war during a tour of duty where we'd seen some shit. Now, the weirdest thing about it to me was that no other combination of people hugged. He did not hug my girlfriend. I did not hug his wife, and my girlfriend and his wife did not hug. It was always he and I. He initiated it, and it always lasted just a couple of seconds too long. Now, to be clear, I do not mind hugging hello or goodbye, male or female. I enjoy it, because who doesn't love a good burst of oxytocin released into their brain? The thing I started to eventually get to me was the fact that I didn't have a choice, and I had to hug him whether I wanted to or not. But at first, my girlfriend and I found it incredibly funny. And we likened him to a real-life Seinfeld character, and we called him Huggy. And we started playing a game where we would try to see what it would take to get him to stop hugging me. So I tried the handshake, and he would knock it out of the way and then hard hug me. I tried the pivot, and that didn't matter because he would just hard hug me from the side. And one time I was on the phone when he came over, and I gave him the I'm on the phone, give me a minute finger, and he waited patiently, and then when I was done, he hard hugged me. This went on for months, and it was fine until one night I found out what it would take to get him to stop hugging me. So the four of us were going to go on a date night to go see George Clooney's Leatherheads. My girlfriend and I arrived early. We were sitting in our seats in the near-empty theater. The McAllisters arrived. They were standing at the end of the row. They started to whisper to each other, presumably about who they were going to sit next to. They then started walking down the row, and I got up to let them by. Mrs. McAllister walked by me to sit next to my girlfriend, and then, without warning, I am attack hugged from the side. And he pulls me in so close and with such velocity that I can feel the heat of his breath on my neck and the graze of a lip on my ear as he creepily says, "I've been looking forward to date night." I am in no way proud of how I reacted to this moment. But I came to find out with the benefit of retrospect that this was my subconscious way of telling me that I was done with the hugging. Because when I felt the heat of his breath on my neck and the graze of his lip on my ear, I turned to him and said, "What the fuck are you doing?" Never do that again. Things got, as you can imagine, uncomfortable. He made his way down to sit next to his wife. And then as I sat down, the lights went down, and for the next 1 hour and 54 minutes, we all watched the shitty Leatherheads. The next morning, I received an email from Huggy McAllister asking me if I would meet him. And I said yes, and I went over to his house, and we stood in his driveway, and I got to the point immediately. I said, "You hugged me too much." and it's got to stop. And he immediately said, he wanted to make clear to me that this was not a homosexual advance, and I responded, I don't care if it's a homosexual advance. This is not about that. This is about a personal space violation. And then I made the Seinfeld comparison, and then he got it. And in that moment, he admitted to me that he really likes me, and that he considers me a friend, and he always has difficulty making male friends as an adult, and that he was really happy and so thrilled that I was his new friend. And right then I felt so bad about how I reacted, because I completely empathized. And I said, I'm sorry, man, I like you, and I'm glad you're my friend. And it was a really nice moment between the two of us. And as these two grown men stood in this driveway, reconciled, there was nothing else we could do in that moment but hug. And as always, it lasted just a couple of seconds too long. Thank you very much.